What about the sieve? Through screening and cleaning methods, perhaps the Cultural Revolution will not simply repeat itself. Shi Taifeng's party cleaning, national officials' spy risk investigation. Hello, friends. Today is May 5th, 2025, Monday. Welcome to this episode of Inside View of China. Today is the 15th anniversary of Du's arrest. The 15th anniversary of his arrest. 15 years ago, I was taken away. Recently, we have received many letters from old friends which focused on a major trend. Just before the CIA publicly released a video recruiting Communist Party officials on the eve of about half a month ago, the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China suddenly launched an unprecedented large-scale investigation. It was led by the member of the Politburo Standing Committee, headed by Shi Taifeng, the Minister of the Organization Department. The scope of this investigation is very large. Across the whole party and the whole army nationwide to fully investigate the overseas relations of officials. Overseas travel records, family members' overseas travel history, and whether they have overseas relations and so on. So, at present, all levels of units have started to fill out forms. The central government issues orders. The requirement is to conduct a comprehensive inventory, person-by-person filing grading assessment, especially to accurately grasp potential spy risks. For officials in Inner Mongolia, this set of methods is not unfamiliar, right? 5 years ago, Shi Taifeng served as the Secretary of the Inner Mongolia. He led a review of coal resources. A 20-year stormy investigation. At that time, my wife and her colleagues, including any unit or agency, were called from home to fill out forms overnight. Even teachers were not spared, which led to many local cadres losing both money and power, and nowhere to go. However, this time the scale of the model is no longer limited to one province, but covered the entire national system and directly pointed to the sensitive field of overseas relations. Its intensity and meaning can be said to be beyond previous ones. This approach has caused a huge shock within the Communist Party. Many officials privately exclaimed that this is really getting more and more like the Cultural Revolution. With such a thunderous strike, who is it intended to guard against? What are they afraid of? Or preparing for which move? What underlies this is a complete and utter insecurity. Or is the Zhongnanhai facing a self crisis that they cannot control themselves? In Lao Du's opinion, Shi Taifeng to Xi Jinping, it is very similar to Wang Tonghe in the late Qing dynasty to Emperor Guangxu. When I talked about Shi Taifeng in the last issue, I mentioned that he is a veritable imperial tutor. Before Xi Jinping ascended the throne, Shi Taifeng is already at the Central Party school. He sold him the basic theory of governing the country by ruling the party. It can be said that this sentence became the starting point of Xi Jinping's governance concept, and also became his later general strategy for governing the party. But the problem arises, how to govern the party? Which is the fundamental question. To answer this question, we need to briefly review the consistent tradition of the Communist Party of China. Saying that the Communist Party of China has to talk about the Communist Party of Russia? Right? What about Lenin after the victory of the October Revolution? Quickly realized that once a revolutionary party becomes a ruling party, the party would expand rapidly, complexification and infiltration. It would become the biggest risk of governance. In the Russian Communist Party in 1921, at the 10th All-Russian Congress of the Bolsheviks, proposed that those unreliable and impure motives. We must clean up our party to make it truly the vanguard of the proletariat. So if Lenin's purge thought is the originator, then it was institutionalized, radicalized, and violent. It was his successor, Stalin. From 1934, Stalin launched a terrifying Great Purge, claiming that we must clean up our party, keep it free from the pollution of class enemies. He shouted an extreme slogan, "I would rather kill 3,000 by mistake than let one go." From 1936 to 1938, the purge carried out by the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. The terrorist activities of the Trotskyist and Bukharin counter-revolutionaries, which led to the famous Moscow trials and secret executions. According to research statistics, in this process of party purification, more than 70% of the Central Committee members, hundreds of thousands of party members were arrested, labor reformed, the Internal People's Committee became the main butcher of the purge. As the Soviet Communist Party's loyal followers, the Communist Party of China, this political storm naturally blew to the CCP. Mao Zedong's rectification movement in Yan'an from 1942 to 1945 clearly proposed to rectify three styles to clean up the impure elements in the party. He emphasized that our party is for fighting and revolution, and there must be no enemies mixed in, and must be cleaned. During the Cultural Revolution reached a level of madness and extremity. Not only did they clean up the class ranks, but even proposed re-registering party members. Lin Biao and Jiang Qing repeatedly emphasized that there were a large number of bourgeois representatives, and they must be removed. Of course, Xi Jinping will not be like Stalin or Mao Zedong, right? Blatantly called for purging our party, but his words hide this logic everywhere, and even more ruthless than them. He is better at using moral and technical new terms, such as self-revolution, scraping the bone to heal the poison, to eliminate the black sheep and purify the collective. Behind these words, there is the same goal, is to achieve political control through purges. Let's take a look at the expressions in several key periods. The first is the early days of the 18th National Congress. Xi Jinping proposed that self-discipline is essential. In 2013, Xi Jinping publicly stated that we must remove corrupt elements and purify the collective. Whether it's a tiger or a fly, to the end, this is the beginning of the publicization of his logic. The second one, in the speech of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, Xi Jinping proposed to have a bone-scraping therapy. He emphasized that in the fight against corruption, we must have the courage to perform bone setting. What is bone scraping and poison therapy? It's terrifying. It's even more terrifying than cleaning. Then in 2016, in his speech on the 90th anniversary of the party's founding, he emphasized that we should have the courage and cut off one's wrist, which means that even if some people are sacrificed, the health of the party must be exchanged. It's a terrifying statement. The third is the report of the 19th National Congress. In 2017, he called self-revolution. He proposed that self-purification, self-improvement, self-innovation, and self-improvement. We must strengthen the party and manage the party strictly, which is actually laying a theoretical basis for cleaning. The fourth is the report of the 22nd National Congress. In 2022, to eliminate political risks, Xi Jinping emphasized that we should punish corruption and eliminate all viruses that corrupt the health of the party. In terms of language, it seems to be medical governance, but in fact has long been a military and battlefield expression. The core of this set of language is for the health of the party. Someone has to sacrifice. This kind of rectification packaged as self-revolution is actually the CCP's purge mechanism. A return in the context of a new era, it deprives the system of error-correcting mechanisms, but beautifies the rationality of violent control. But the result is 13 years of anti-corruption, more corruption. Party cleaning for 13 years, more and more chaos. Why? Because the core is not a moral issue, but a system problem. Just like I said, on a tree, you pick the bad fruits. It's no use just picking the fruits. You need to cut the tree. Now, Xi Jinping has once again proposed, please invite the Emperor Shi Taifeng to let him be in charge of the organization department of the Central Committee. And in a short time, he promoted two landmark party rectification measures. First, implemented in Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region, the leniency system for corrupt officials, also known as an alternative amnesty system. Offenders can get a reduced sentence or immunity. It's actually a pre-cleansing of the registered problem. The second one is called the large-scale investigation, focuses on investigating the overseas records of officials and overseas relations, not to prevent leaks, but to identify politically unreliable elements. All of this is nothing but a repetition of the Communist Party's old saying. We need to clean up our party. This means that a new round of political purge has begun. A large number of Chinese officials will be the victims. During Xi Jinping's tenure in Inner Mongolia, he launched a near-revolutionary political rectification storm. Under the banner of 20-year coal investigation, the history of coal resource development in the entire Inner Mongolia autonomous region. He conducted a carpet and systematic liquidation. It was not just an ordinary anti-corruption campaign, but a structural purge with strong political intentions. Structural cleaning, with the slogan of purifying the party spirit, but a restructuring of the resource and power pattern. It was a complete storm. In Inner Mongolia, coal is not only energy but also power, intertwined with money and interests. In the past 20 years, Zheng Qinghong, Liu Yunshan, Hu Chunhua, and other party dignitaries, their relatives, allies, and agents have jointly woven a complex coal interest network. From mine rights allocation, exploration and development, tax supervision, environmental protection approval, and project contracting, everywhere was filled with power money transactions and collusion. Shi Taifeng knows very well how deep the water is in this land, and Xi Jinping sent him to Inner Mongolia. His core task is to clear the field, to catch the big fish and break the old net. So Shi Taifeng he raised the banner of self-revolution, actually killing with a knife rebuild the power structure in the name of anti-corruption. As soon as he took office, he took decisive action. A large number of department-level cadres were taken in one pot. He traced up to the standing committee of the party committee and swept down to the township level. Coal bosses were all investigated one by one. The political and business circles were in panic overnight, and everyone was afraid. This is not about cleaning up a few moths, but a planned and purposeful, deep-seated surgical operation to uproot them, with blood and flesh, until the bone and tendons are exposed, and even tearing the tissue. As of November 2021, this is the data released by the media. Investigating the special action of 20 years, a total of 736 coal-related cases, and 1,023 people involved, including 69 at the ministerial level, 243 county-level cadres. A total of 1,656 people were held accountable. According to the data personally collected by Lao Du as of June 2022, the entry team of the Inner Mongolia prison system has already pressed this. The prisoners who should be moved over 350 prisoners, the coal official in this field, waiting for jail, but the prisons are overcrowded. Nowhere to close them. It's on the incarceration team. Right there, this transition. The ground is full of people. They slept on the ground without beds. The provincial and ministerial officials include Yun Guangzhong, is the former member of the Standing Committee of the Xingyun, Secretary of the Hohhot Municipal Party Committee, the younger brother of Liu Yunshan, former Secretary of Inner Mongolia, right? The brother of a different milk compatriot. Song Liang is the vice governor of Gansu Province, former Tongliao Municipal Party Secretary Li Jiexiang, vice governor of Qinghai. Province former Tongliao Municipal Party Secretary, former chairperson of Bai Shangquan. Autonomous Region, Government former Party Secretary of Cloud Citizen China. Huadian Group Hu Yifeng, former President of the High Court of Inner Mongolia, Autonomous Region, etc. This Hu Yifeng is the representative of Eastern Inner Mongolia. His father is Temur Bagan. He was involved in the East-West Mongolia negotiations. It is the Old Revolution, the first generation of the Old Revolution in Inner Mongolia, and also the first president of the Inner Mongolia High Court. Later, his son succeeded him as the president, but he was arrested. According to official sources, during the crackdown, over 5 billion yuan in economic losses. But the political significance of this purge is far greater than the economic benefits. It shattered the old political umbrella and disrupted the existing distribution pattern of interests, making the political control completely centralized. From then on, all the reallocation of mining rights and resources must be approved under the new order. This is not anti-corruption, but a cleaning. Not looking back, but a reshuffle. The reason why Shi Taifeng dared to make such a bold move is because he knows that the central government needs someone to operate on the frontier. You see, it used to be a pilot from Inner Mongolia. This time, it's in Guangxi, which are all border ethnic minority autonomous regions. So doing a visible political surgery to prove that the so-called self-revolution is not a slogan, but a set of replicable governance techniques. He used Inner Mongolia as an experimental field. He personally deployed, led, and supervised. Eventually, as a high-pressure anti-corruption pioneer, successfully promoted to president of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, he officially became Xi Jinping's political advisor, and then entered the Secretariat of the Central Committee, and finally became the Minister of Organization Department. This promotion path can be called a textbook, this operation. Then check for 20 years from a legal perspective its accountability. From a political perspective, it's an old enemy. From the perspective of the system, it is an integration of resources, cadres, public opinion into the new governing logic. In other words, in the political language of the CCP, this is self-purification. And in real politics, this is a power redistribution in the name of rectification. Using political surgery, a high-level means of purging officials from non-core systems. Some people said that this is an unprecedented act of justice. Ha ha! Some people say this is a political drama of changing bosses. Of course, which one it is, the world will answer. But one thing is certain. After this storm, Inner Mongolia coal is no longer just energy, but a systematic fuel and sacrifice for political rectification. Now Shi Taifeng has taken over as the minister of the CPC. He has 3 fires in his new position. He led the National Official Foreign Background Investigation and quickly launched. Continuing his logic of political rectification, this logic of rectification, he is known for his decisive and thorough approach. He is good at using extreme means like reverse investigation. And this large-scale investigation is obviously, he compared this high-pressure model of this experiment in Inner Mongolia to the whole country. Copied to the organization department of the Central Committee and further escalated, from investigating corruption to political loyalty. So this investigation storm is named to fully understand the situation, but in fact, in the whole party and the whole army, to screen for absolutely loyal cadres. From the top of the Communist Party of China to grassroots officials, from retired cadres to active officials, none were excluded from the screening system. It is said that some officials contacted overseas relatives overnight, asking them to delete some traces that are not conducive to the CCP statements to avoid being accused of being charged with something. Just to show loyalty and avoid suspicion. The atmosphere in the conference rooms of government offices. It's like facing a big enemy. Instead of finding problems, it's more like a collective expression of loyalty. In this environment, cadres generally choose to talk less and do less for fear of saying something wrong. Many people admitted that this model of everyone passing the test and being reviewed reminds them of the political movements in the Cultural Revolution. Indeed, the standard of political loyalty is becoming unprecedentedly strict. So this approach of the backtone is gradually going to extremes. The entire bureaucracy is being recoded according to who is the most loyal or political ranking. This loyalty storm led by Shi Taifeng this time is causing widespread concern in society. Whether the political struggle method of the Cultural Revolution, whether in the new situation dominated by technocrats make a comeback. In the era of Mao Zedong, how many cadres were labeled class enemies were labeled as class enemies? Today, similar background issues have become the focus of review. It makes people feel that the shadow of history is approaching. Leftists may applaud this, thinking it is the reappearance of revolutionary spirit. But more people are deeply worried, and worried that the CCP is accelerating its left turn. Return to the track of the Cultural Revolution. In the past few years, the Communist Party of China has raised the political struggle, from the repeated emphasis on the fighting spirit to the ambiguous regression of the Cultural Revolution, have sent intriguing signals. And today's national loyalty checks. It is more reminiscent of the Zhangzi dance during the Cultural Revolution, such as hunting for traitors and everyone being blamed. Although this operation is not a mass movement relying on the masses, but top-down, a disciplinary cleaning led by technical bureaucrats. But the essence remains that using the division of enemy and friend to consolidate the authority and political clearance to achieve the reconcentration of power. This is precisely the logic of the centralization of power in the Mao Zedong era, a technological variant in the new era. History has proved that continuous high-pressure political purges will eventually lead to widespread fear, suspicion, and policy paralysis. Today's Chinese officialdom has shown such signs. In a highly tense atmosphere, innovation is suppressed, then intelligence is weakened, only taking a stance, taking sides, and seeking stability. Finally, I want to say that led by Shi Taifeng, the National Investigation of Officials' Foreign Backgrounds. The highly unified political significance presented at the same time ensures that the entire bureaucratic machine absolute loyalty to the supreme leader. This rectification storm in Inner Mongolia, investigation of 20 years ago, is the same, continuing his cold and high pressure and thorough party restructuring. In this loyalty test, the party is on high alert, and the officialdom is in a panic. From a practical perspective, the U.S. intelligence agency's counter-propaganda has certainly intensified. Or rather, it stimulated this nerve in Beijing. But from the historical trajectory, the Communist Party of China opts for political purge in the crisis and returns to the extreme left is not accidental. This high-pressure situation not only profoundly reshaped the behavior pattern of the Chinese bureaucracy, but also made the whole society feeling the echoes of Cultural Revolution-style fear again, but the core logic and terror mechanism of the Cultural Revolution are returning in another technical and disciplined way. Partly return, how will this loyalty investigation storm end? The world is closely watching. The haze over the Chinese political arena has been hard to ignore. In this soul-searching, the real price may not be the careers of some officials, but the collapse of the entire system's trust and administrative efficiency. As someone lamented, now there is no sun in China, but only a layer of overwhelming dark clouds. It's a dark cloud. Okay, friends, due to time that our program will end here today. Thank you for watching. See you at the same time tomorrow.